Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we are going to be analyzing the trailer for patch 4.5 for Final Fantasy XIV. Now, of course, I am probably going to miss a thing here or there, so be sure to tell me what I missed in the comment section of the video below after you watch it. I'm sure there's plenty of speculation and things that we all have regarding the various probable red herrings and teasers we have in this trailer, and it is a damn good trailer. Holy moly, this is a good trailer. It's going to be my first time actually watching it in English, so I'm probably going to learn a few new things from the live letter when we watch it in Japanese. After we watch through it once, it's only 3.5 minutes. We're going to go frame by frame, look at the various different things that happen in the trailer itself, and break it down. So before we actually do that, though, we're going to be watching it. I am going to have my commentary over the trailer. If you'd like to watch it without my commentary, please look in the description of the YouTube video for a direct link. And also, if you go to the Square Enix channel, it's available in all the various different languages. So with that, let us go through
16
and watch it for the first time. Gimlet Dark looks like such a good dungeon. Holy moly. I don't even want to talk during this.
Throw wide the gates.
Dude, all of the heroes are in that. You can see Hien. There's so many. They're all over the place if you look all over.
But we don't know how long they can hold out.
Blue mages in Stone Vigil.
This doesn't make sense. But how is it even possible?
You of all people should understand.
My goal is this: to return the world to the way it once was, the way it was always meant to be. In doing so, mankind will be made whole once more. No longer will we suffer from the dissension born of our differences.
Win or lose, the path you walk leads only to oblivion. If I must forsake myself to keep my oath, then so be it. Flesh of my flesh, show them their folly.
Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword.
What are you? Let me go! He has my brother!
Soon, we will throw wide the gates.
You will be the capstone of this world. I, anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
All right. I was going to do more commentary over it, but it was way too hype to actually talk over. So, oh my. There's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, those different story elements that are in here, it is worth mentioning. Not all of them are from part 4.5 part 1. Quite a few of them are going to come from part 2. We don't know which ones are, but you can probably start to wager guesses. Anything happening in or around the Gimlet Dark is almost definitely happening in part 1. Anything that isn't is up for debate, pretty much. So as we go through, first there's a few different things. First, obviously, when it comes to the audio, we may have to listen to certain parts again. But the first thing is that it starts with the same quote we heard in the 4.4 trailer and one of the quotes we hear in the 4.4 story, literally word for word, but being said slower in a sense. I don't know if that's because we're getting closer to the voice or further from the voice or anything along those lines, or if it's just meant for, I guess, for dramatic effect. You know, there's no way of knowing what it actually is. But it's taking place throughout. As we go to the Gimlet Dark, we seem to be hearing this voice the most. And based on the trailer for Shadowbringers itself, we have to presume that this event in the Gimlet Dark is a turning point through which the Warrior of Light needs to become the Warrior of Darkness due to the forestalling of darkness that actually takes place here. It's almost like an event that will balance the world one way or the other. But again, there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot of missing context when it comes to a lot of stuff. I will say the Gimlet Dark looks incredible for a dungeon. Now, we actually do get to see a bunch of the heroes such as Hien, Lys, what's his name? I can't remember his name, and I really should remember it because he's right alongside Pippin. We see him fight. We see all the different NPCs fighting. We see Yugiri use a Ninja LB3. So at first I thought maybe this was almost like a teaser of the trust system that's coming in 5.0. Not that we would have it for this dungeon, but kind of like a teaser of things we can expect out of those characters going into the trust system in 5.0. But honestly, it just looks like all out warfare. I mean, it's fine. It literally is war, but like we've had Alamigo and Doma, and we've had, you know, situations like that before. And yes, they felt like grand battles, but this feels like almost like you're playing the end of 1.x or 1.23c, where you see them going up against all the Garleans and it's just all out chaos. That's more what it kind of resembles to me. This early part looks like they're challenging Xeno right here and getting their asses kicked, and Lys trying to be useful. I have a bad feeling about that punch right there not going the way she wants it to. Hien, Yugiri, we know that this is the alliance between Doma and the Eorzean alliance challenging the might of the Empire as they march for Alamigo. This is going to be taking place somewhere between Alamigo and the Garlean Empire, through the Gimlet Dark, which is described on the 4.5 site, given a little bit of a lore update. So, yeah, there he is. I thought that was just the player running in, but that's Pippin. And it's also great to see that he can't actually wield the sword with one hand, even though it is technically supposed to be a one-handed sword. He wields it like a samurai. He's got a samurai holding stance right here. And there you go. You can see what's his name? God, I can't remember all their names because of Amaric. There you go. You can see Amaric right here. I'm trying to see if you can see any of the other ones. I'm looking. I see a machinist, which that's got to be a player because, and I mean, even if it is a player, I don't believe them that machinist would show up in this dungeon. Regardless, all the same. 5.0 maybe one day. We see just what looks to be kind of like the intro cutscene. You can see the actual player now, the Warrior of Light running through. You can see the various different factions of Eorzea fighting up against several different Magitech machines right here, including another Scorpion tank. And then in this part, they're talking about, if we play the audio right here, I got to listen to see who was actually talking.
Ian and Commander Hext have taken their troops. Well, Ian and Commander Hext have taken their troops to provide support, but we don't know how long they can hold out.
I'm going to assume... I don't recognize the voice off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've heard a lot of voices. I'm going to assume it's this dude talking right here, the scientist right here. Because it almost sounds like the Empire is the ones that are having issues. And I don't want to believe he's reporting about the battle in the Gimlet Dark, because that seems weird. I wonder if this is, they're talking about, I wonder, because wouldn't it be weird? I guess Xenos is the one leading the battle, but, it's just weird to me that this is happening all the way back in Garlemald, this report that's coming in. So that's the only thing that's kind of irregular about it, because I wanted to believe it was about them, the Empire losing the battle in the Gimlet Dark, which makes sense, though, because we do expect that this battle in the Gimlet Dark is going to lead to a potential flood of light, or the potential for a flood of light, because it's going to throw off the scales of darkness versus light. Okay, we don't need that for the rest of them. We are going to need to turn on the audio again. Here we just have blue mages teaming up to do Stone Vigil to try and learn spells together. It's not really too much to take away from that. Now, this is the palace in the center of Eureka right here. So this is the public dungeon that we've been hearing so much about in Hydatos. And I got to admit, it looks pretty spectacular here in Hydatos itself. It was also worth mentioning, Blue Mage used Titans, looked like... was that? Yeah, that was not upheaval. Yeah, Titan. Yeah, it was one of Titan's skills, wasn't it? Wasn't that was that Mountain Buster right there? Whatever it is, it's yeah, Mountain Buster, upheaval, whatever. It's one. It looks like it's one of Titan's skills. Looks like it's Mountain Buster. So here is the Eureka section. Kryl just makes a quick comment here about not being able to believe anything. Let's listen to it.
This doesn't make sense. But how is it even possible?
There you go. How is it even possible? I don't even know if that's Kryl's voice. That's the thing, man. I have such a hard time remembering whose voice goes where. But I think it is Kryl's voice just commenting on the events that are taking place in Eureka right here. But I got to admit, the inside of it looks beautiful. Here's just this cut to another Blue Mage. That's Blue Mage doing the first boss of Amdapor normal. And then we have, remember that Ozma Savage thing that they showed us a while back? Looks like we get to see where it is. It's inside the public dungeon in Hydatos, the Ozma Savage model that they made way back when. I think it was at the NA Fan Fest before Stormblood. I think they showed this off. It was a long time ago, but that's where he is. There's going to be some sort of Ozma rematch over there in the public dungeon. And then we have Solace here with another quote. Let's throw the audio on for that. Let's lower it a little bit. You of all people should understand. I mean, no real way to tell who he's talking to right there. Although later I'd like to believe something else happens, but this is very interesting to me. So I have predicted since we learned in the events of 4.4, Varys isn't really happy with the state of Garlemald, it seems. He knows now that the Ascians actually run the show, and he's not a fan of that. He hates all that shit. So he's meeting with the members of the Eorzean Alliance right here in a Garlean tent, especially. And based on the quote that follows, it seems that we are going to get almost like the Varys turnaround where he says he wants to restore this world to its natural state, pretty much. And he's kind of like an unexpected ally, in a sense. So it seems that he's going to do everything that he can to bring the world into an actual balance. And to be fair, if the Garlean Empire is basically not a source of evil anymore, this meeting itself could be another cause for a flood of light. If there is no evil, no darkness in the world at all, that's what leads to a flood of light. That's what the Warrior of Darkness claimed when he defeated the Ascians, got rid of all evil. The flood of light came and threatened to ruin everything. So I'm curious if this meeting has any deeper impact with the imbalance between light and dark, which is going to be the main theme that we come to when we get to 5.0, when the Warrior of Light becomes the Warrior of Darkness, which has a little bit of a teaser here at the very end of the trailer itself. So again, Varys is just here talking about that. Also, that looks to be, this is the Orban Monastery for the 24-man right here. And it reminds me very much of when the first steps you take in the Lost City of Amdapor, but it definitely has sort of like the lighting and the feeling of a place that, how do I want to describe this? Of a place from Tactics, in a sense. I almost get a very Tactics-esque atmosphere from this, but it's also shrouded in light, which always makes me nervous. There are 5 players here, so we know it's not part of the Gimlet Dark where you get whisked away and, have to see, our whatever we've done, blah, blah, blah. But it looks beautiful all the same. And especially the thing we're going to see coming up right here. We also get to see Alma with the Aura Sight floating above her, most noticeably. Looks like she's being teleported away into something. The question for me is that our Alma or is that an ancient Alma? I think that's our Alma. So she looks like she's dealing with some magicite, either a transformative spell because she's letting it take over, or she's being teleported somewhere. We also see, I forgot about her. This is also from the Evolution raid. I had actually completely forgotten about this character overall. Let me just put it this way. If you don't remember her, she speaks very smart and people don't understand her. So expect her to speak very smart and not be understood again. Going forward. Now that's Ramza in what looks like his heretic attire. I guess the question is, I have a feeling that's the Ramza of ancient Yblis, and not our actual Ramza. I doubt our actual Ramza, who is nothing but a loudmouthed, just arrogant asshole, has all of a sudden taken on the heretic outfit and is actually fighting. Now it is possible that the Aura Sight could unlock the old Ramza in the new Ramza. We've already seen that once with what happened after Yasmat, but all the same, I mean, we're expecting it's Ramza in his heretic outfit. I mean, that's the main thing to draw on. He's also walking into what looks to be like a portal of light there that kind of appears and then dissipates a little bit. Then we have this, which is one of the boss fights in the Evolution raid, and looks like he uses the Arc model. I mean, he definitely uses the Arc model, but I don't remember Arc whipping out a sniper rifle, loading it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Like almost 5 seconds. And then while you're in the middle, this is like an ATE in the middle of the fight because they're fighting something right now. They're DPSing something right now. And it targets people. It starts scanning the zone and targeting people. Looks like he's charging up like an ultimate attack and you're like trying to destroy it. You're going to have to avoid getting sniped in the middle of the fight because that's what this looks like. This looks like it's an active time event where you're getting sniped while you're trying to DPS the thing. And that means you got to move based. I don't know how this is going to work, but it looks cool as hell. And that's all I know. So really curious to see how that ends up working out in the actual fight itself, like Zigbar from Kingdom Hearts 2 or some shit. And finally, we have our first teaser of Viera. In case you didn't know, Viera is confirmed to be... okay, let me rephrase. They never said we're getting Viera in 5.0. They might as well have. It's like the job teasers that they've done in the past at their first fan fest where, we're getting a new job. I won't tell you what it is, but this Batman shirt. Oh, the Dark Knight. I love the Dark Knight movies from Christopher Nolan. It was a Bugs Bunny shirt getting a new race. It's Fran, all right? We're getting Viera's, and that's all there is to it. So this is our first look. A lot of people were wondering what they were going to do with, honestly, the legs and the feet more in particular, because the Viera's are known for having... basically the heel, they're not wearing heels unless they are here, but I doubt they're going to do it that way. If you don't wear heels, it's basically, it's part of their foot. So it looks to me like what they've done here is they've taken the Viera's feet and kind of squashed them so that they still have that exact same design. But if you were to take boots that are actual gear, and put them over it, you wouldn't have to adjust the model of the boots. Now, it could be wrong because there's also shit like sandals. You have to question, like, what the fuck happens when you're wearing sandals? Digigrade, I can't say the word. It's too early in the morning. People know what I'm trying to say. Regardless. So there is still a question about certain different types of shoes they could wear. And maybe they do. Maybe these heels aren't part of their feet in our lore. Maybe it is different than the way it works in Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy Tactics and whatnot. But it is something we're thinking about because people are always thinking about how their character looks in various shit. I mean, that's the reason why character customization is such a big thing. So we at least get to see the lower half of a Viera here. And we'll see how it actually means when it comes to the different shoe models and whatnot going into 5.0. Okay. Yeah, like what happens when they wear Crocs. This is the end of the quote where, okay, let me just play the exact quote again.
No longer will we suffer from the dissension born of our differences.
See, no longer will we be born from the dissension of our differences. Again, he's in that tent and he's meeting with the Eorzean Alliance. I just have a feeling that we're gonna get Varys on our side here. We're gonna have a lot of people on our side. It looks like, in particular, just looking at some of the stuff that's gonna be happening in the later parts of the trailer. Now, this is the event that takes place where we see this in the Shadowbringer trailer. It's specifically noted that this battle right here is supposed to be the equivalent of the one who stood alone against the storm. This is what we're presuming it's referring to based on the little 1v1 duel in the trailer itself. There's been quite a few people pointing out that the Warrior of Light here actually has some stubble, which is people are hoping for some more character customization options, especially in the way of facial hair. Whether or not that means anything here, I'm not super optimistic, but we'll see. So he moves forward a little bit. We know that's probably going to be the last boss there. And then we get a little bit of a preview of Seiryu right here. You can see a handful of mechanics. You can see this is like the second half of the fight when everything's kind of shrouded. That was a tank buster that just hit him right there. He summons a bunch of bird dudes to do line AoEs that make a cross. while the boss himself also does some sort of runes around him, which I think in the preview we saw from Yoshida, I think that was what caused the donut AoE. I wonder if it could be donut or point blank. Probably one or the other. And then for this part right here, you don't really see too much. So he summons a giant wave of snakes with an arrow pointing. So odds are you can be knocked off the arena. So odds are you have to run towards the side the snakes are coming from in order to make sure you don't actually get knocked all the way off. So, boop. Yep. And then there's also a line split damage AoE. And we have to presume this is just his ultimate attack. You can see the party is coiled in snakes there in the bottom left, so they can't move. And then all these other snakes are coming together and helping him summon his ultimate attack. And then we have more scenes from the actual battle taking place in the Gimlet Dark. We might as well play this scene. Now, it sounds like this entire scene is being voiced by Shadowhunter. I know, we all know who it is. And I'm pretty sure when I listened to the Japanese version of this trailer, it was the exact same voice actor as who we know it is. But let me just listen to it again.
Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword.
Yeah, so, no doubt about it. That's Daddy. That's Daddy himself. If that's not Big Daddy Gaius, I will, like, come on. It's Gaius. Like, we've known for ages it's Gaius. It's Shadowhunter. Like, it's Gaius, all right? So we get to see this little scene right here with Gaius talking over it, talking about how basically he wants to bring down the Ascians. They've been in the shadows this whole time, yada, yada, yada. You're just seeing, again, a bunch of different... I see Ishtola back there now casting as well, so another one of our potential trust NPCs. And then we get this scene. So this is Xenos. We're all presuming that this is Xenos, who after he was killed and lost his body to Elidibus, took the body of one of the Alamegans and is now just fucking shit up. And he is most noticeably fucking up the Garleans in this one. Now, it's a question of, does he just want his body? Does he have any sort of stake in all of this? Is a big question. It's hard to tell if that's like any Garlean. It just looks like it's a general like Centurion or something like that. So it's also worth mentioning that if with all of those characters fighting in the Gimlet Dark, some of those characters that are fighting in the Gimlet Dark were out of commission at the end of 4.4, Ishtola being one of them. So they're back in. So there's a lot of really important shit that happens on the first part before we actually get into the Gimlet Dark. So I really want to see what the actual, what Xenos' actual role is in all this, you know, how we actually come out of the comas that everyone's in. I didn't see Thancred there, but Ishtola was there, so we can just kind of ninja right here. Hien just chilling right here. Then we just get a little bit more footage of us fighting. We've got two more. We've got. Listen, these aren't the Sasunius sisters, but they sure do remind me of them. But it looks like they're part of a cutscene, but I wonder if we're actually get to fight. But they just remind me of Livia's pretty much. I'm sure we'll find out that they're just similar in terms of rank and fighting style, but not in any way more notable than Livia overall. Oh, these are the guards from the throne room. All right, there you go. All right, yeah, these are the guards from the throne room. Okay. Well, they're gonna mess. They're Zorn and Thorn. Yeah, they could be Zorn and Thorn. Maybe slightly less hilarious versions of them, so I doubt it. And then this is Yugiri using a Ninja LB3. Nothing too fancy there. She's cheating. And then we have Alice and Hien, what looks to be in the burn, and she specifically says they have my brother. He has my brother. So I'm curious if they're referring to... here's the thing. What I presume is happening is the scene we see with Gaius earlier, he looks like he's also in the burn. I'm just going to start calling him Gaius at this point. And it seems to me like something's probably happened since between what we saw in 4.4 and what we're now seeing Alice experience in 4.5. I'd like to presume this is actually part of part 2, and that Solace has kidnapped Alphino in some way. and that Alice wants to, she's learning that at this moment and wants to basically go hunt him down. So, again, we can't really tell that for certain, but that's where my prediction is. By the way, this is the single greatest GIF of all time. I already had somebody make a GIF for me and tweet it at me. And then also, Hezkezel, who does a lot of the pictures for the Reddit Discord, also sent me a GIF of this. By the way, I don't like that he laughs and then Absolute Virtue from Final Fantasy XI shows up on the screen right here, because that is most definitely Absolute Virtue from Final Fantasy XI, casting what is probably the fastest cast meteor you'll ever see, considering he spends about half a second and boom, meteor hits the ground, everyone's dead. So I hope you're ready for Absolute Virtue. That was in the palace in Eureka. There had been some predictions of Absolute Virtue showing up there. Or Absolute Zuzu, as he'll probably become to be known, or Absolute Zuzu. Because it's Hydatos, water, Final Fantasy XI, sea, ocean. On top of that, 144 people. Sounds like a reasonable amount of people to bring to the fight for Absolute Virtue from back in the day from 11. So it just made perfect sense. We'll probably see a lot of references to Final Fantasy XI in that encounter overall, especially with just Eureka has kind of been a mini love letter to Final Fantasy XI. So again, not really too much of a surprise to see him there. We see Lise going up against the two guards from the guard room. We've got Hien making a mean face. And then we've also got a quote going on here. And then we're seeing this event taking place. Who's standing behind Alice? I can't get a good look at them. Okay, I see Yugiri, Hien. So basically, we're having another one of those events that we had from back in the throne room, which is weird because we just saw like Y'shtola and all of them fighting in the Gimlet Dark. And so it would seem that they've been brought back from being called, but now we're trying to be called again. And because it's happening to Alice and the Warrior of Light, it leads me more and more to believe, well, yes, I would have loved for it to have been Arbert. It sounds a lot more like Arbert, especially in some languages like English and Japanese. There is, of course, the theory it is Alphino. Something's happened to him. He's reaching out from the future to try and change the past. There's a whole lot of theories going on about that and happening to Alice and the Warrior of Light in particular. We're also noticing that a lot of the people who are interacting, a lot of people who have interacted with Alphino are the ones being affected by this the most, it seems. Whereas it seems like Yugiri and Hien, while Alphino has met them, he hasn't interacted with them nearly as much. It almost feels like he's reaching out to people who he has a closer connection to, if it is Alphino overall. Oh yeah, you know what? That might have been Connie Senna. Let's go back and look to see if that was Connie Senna and not Y'shtola. That is actually a good thing to search for. I assumed because I saw the white robe, but you are right. She was pretty far in the back. So, let's go back to that. That was, see, this is why I'm glad I do this live on Twitch, because it's sometimes hard for me to catch all those things when they're way in the back. Where was that part of the Gimlet Dark? Was it this part? There's so many, like, Gimlet Dark gets cut to so many times in this trailer that I can't remember where it actually is. 221. All right, there we go. Look at that. See, Twitch chat's awesome. Yeah, that's Connie Senna right there. You can see her. Connie Senna, Amaric. I'm trying to see if Raubon's chilling anywhere. Again, yeah, there I see Lise. Yeah, that's Connie Senna. That's not Y'shtola. Okay, thank you. Thank you for... Okay, so ignore everything I said about being called. They're still out of commission. All we can know at this point is that in the Shadowbringers trailer, Thancred is fine. So at the very least, he's free by the time we get to that. So take back all that stuff about being called. Connie Senna actually fighting, good to see. Unlike in the A Realm Reborn trailer where her and all of them just stand up on a cliff. But, you know, it's good to finally get them involved a little bit more. So going forward here, again, we have a quote. Let's actually listen to the quote that's from this part again.
Soon we will throw wide the gates.
So all he says is, soon we will throw wide the gates. And again, you can't take that actual voice is happening at the exact same moment as the scene that we're seeing. It's probable because they're being called at the current moment, but we can't take that for an absolute certainty that those two events are happening simultaneously. We do get to see another Solace and Varys. It almost looks like Solace is confronting Varys, who is very conflicted again. We've already seen him potentially working with the Eorzean Alliance. Oh man, there's so much to unpack, and I just want to know everything. I need both these parts of the patches now. I'm going to have a really hard time waiting between part 1 and part 2. But going forward, we do have this one last little part right here, and we'll listen to the quote one more time.
You will be the capstone of this world. I, Anchor and Shah, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
So it sounds like this is the event where Solace is essentially exposing us to Zodiark in a sense, and it looks like our Blessing of the Light will be stripped probably at this part. That my interpretation is this is the official transformation of us from the Warrior of Light into the Warrior of Darkness. That's especially emblematic when you see Hydaelyn here, and then it eventually fades to darkness with that right there, before eventually fading all the way to black overall. It's hard to tell if those two events, again, you always, every time you hear audio and see an event in a trailer, you have to assume that, you can't immediately assume that those two things are happening simultaneously. But we know that going into 5.0, we are going to become the Warrior of Darkness. It's been outright stated since the first FanFest during the opening keynote. And that's, I mean, we have to, at least I'm going to presume that's the moment where we do actually straight up become the Warrior of Darkness. Now, the other thing is he calls our world fraudulent. Now, we, as far as we know, we currently live on the source, which is basically the origin of all the various shards. And the source is among the most important ones. Whereas we would expect that Zodiark and his followers would definitely believe otherwise, or wish to return it to its original state. You know, obviously Zodiark being freed via the rejoining, yada, yada, yada. We've just heard these things a million times, but it sounds like we are finally getting some sort of peek into, I guess, more of the truth, the Ascians side of the story, not just their evil, we're good, they're evil story, more about the actual idea of balance. Again, twin dooms, only you can forestall. I've often projected, since we heard that quote, that is referring to both Hydaelyn and Zodiark, with neither of them being an all-encompassing deity, and both of them needing to be in absolute balance in order for anything to ever truly be peaceful. Now, of course, that scene could be alluding to something else people are predicting, that we may go to another shard. They've specifically said that they don't want to unveil where we're going in this expansion. That detail was left out in the actual opening keynote. They didn't say, hey, we're going to Elsebard, hey, we're doing that. They always said, we're going to Alamigo, we're going to Doma, we're going to Hingashi, we're going to Dervanian Forelands. They've always been super upfront about that. This time they showed us 2 zones and said, we ain't saying anything else. You guys will have to find out. So it's also worth mentioning that in this picture right here, there are 14 different circles. And we know that our shard is the source, and that there are 13 other shards. So the idea of a portal between the realms seems like a very viable thing that we are standing on right now. It's also worth mentioning that one of those shards, either the one that right under the character, is either the source, or it indicates a shard that has been consumed by something. Considering it's the only one that has a different pattern, I'm going to assume that that is the actual source, back to Eorzea and everywhere that we see, and that these are the literal gates, in a sense. Throw wide the gates that we may pass. And this could be that literal gate, that, you know, some of us kind of just suspected was just not, it just wasn't what it actually meant. So dude, I'm not ready. I'm ready, but I'm not ready. It's just so overwhelming, and I could talk about it for hours, but oh boy. All right. That's what we've got. I mean, between the various quotes, again, I'm sure I've missed something, so in the comment section on the YouTube video, be sure to let me know, but holy moly, it's just, I'm not ready for it. It's going to be so much, and I'm so excited. We will have a State of the Realm discussing a lot of this stuff as well, so please be on the lookout for that. Ethis has said he will join us for that, so please look forward to it. Hi. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this. I have a live stream to get back to, and I need a lot more caffeine so I can keep the energy up for that today. So thank you everyone for watching on the YouTube side. Twitch, we're still going to be hanging out for a little bit. We still have a live stream ahead of us. And on the YouTube side of things, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned. Let me know what you think of the trailer, and until next time, take care.